has more than one royal family.
Welcome back to another episode of Wrestle Dads. This is our first sort of live-ish episode. We're doing unedited, going to put it out as soon as possible. We got our special guest today. We got former pro wrestler, 12 plus years in the wrestling business, Sonny the Man Eagle Cain with us today. We got Chairshot Sports, John Anthony, and a physician and AEW photographer, Amanda Nicole, will be joining us here soon. So we're going to do a rundown of AEW Forbidden Door, and I'm going to bring up the first topic right now. So we had two Owen Hart quarterfinal matches, Mariah May defeating Saraya and Bryan Danielson defeating Shingo Tagachi. Boys, with the quarterfinals being on the main card and the undercard, let's start with the undercard first. Mariah May versus Saraya. What do you think of the Owen Hart Cup so far?
For only watching AEW for about a year, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've been watching it a little over a year now, every week. So we're catching on to more things, and this Owen Hart Cup is awesome. Mm-hmm. Parker?
I think it's very interesting just watching it because it's in the memory of Owen Hart, Bret Hart's brother, but I really liked it. You get a cup and the title. So if there's a men's Owen Hart Foundation cup, then I'm joining in it. I'm getting a cup and a title.
I like it, my son. And I just have to give kudos to Mariah May. She's moving on to the semifinals, beating Saraya, and that Bryan Danielson match versus Shingo was one of the best matches on the card. I'm going to bring it to John Anthony from Chair Sports. What do you think of the Owen Hart quarterfinal matches?
I think it was good. It was kind of on par what I thought was going to happen. Mariah May, I think, is going to end up being the winner of this, coming out on top. And I think you're going to eventually to the split of her and Toni Storm, which has obviously been talked about and kind of leaned on in the past weeks. But I'm excited for that. That's awesome. Obviously, Bryan Danielson winning that is going to be great. I don't know if we're going to talk about it here, but I think the wild card that comes out this upcoming Wednesday, I think that person is going to be the winner of the tournament. But seeing Danielson win that, I know this is probably his last 6-7 months of wrestling full time. It was good to see him get the win.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. With this quote unquote being his last year, I hope he goes out with a bang, and this is a start. Sonny, what do you think of the Mariah May and Saraya match?
I liked it. It was very sporty, and the women are finally getting their day in professional wrestling. They've worked for years to be where they are now. I actually think I voted for Mariah May on Gerald Bentley's Wrestling Spotlight to be the winner. So.
Yeah, I mean, that was a safe pick there. And just so with you being a professional wrestler and Bryan Danielson coming up on his last year, do you understand what he's feeling and what he's talking about?
Sure, because it's a big miss in your life when it's gone, and you could go to all the meet and greets you want, but being in the ring is just a special thing. It's like a dance with the audience, and when you're away from it, it's a lonely feeling sometimes. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, we just started our journey yesterday, stepped foot in the ring and took a couple bumps and some rolls and stuff like that. So I get it. The only part of me, to be honest, that's sore is right here where you take all the bumps, where you land and smack the mat. That is the only part of me that actually hurts, but you have to
that's where it's supposed to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the instructor said. He said we were landing good, and so we had a great first day. So getting sidetracked. So back to topic number 2. We got MJF defeating Hechicero. Am I saying that name correctly? Hechicero? No?
I think that's close.
I think it's
close enough. It's close enough.
So it beats him rather easily. Not going to call it a squash.
Sure, I think it's not on TV. I think it was Hachiro, but it's fine.
Hachiro?
It's close enough.
Okay. All right. So we'll go MJF defeats Hachiro rather easily. I'm not going to call it a squash match, but where do you guys see MJF going in the next few weeks? Like, who do you think is going to be his next feud, his next target, if you will? We'll start with John Anthony, and then we'll go to the boys, and then we'll go to Sonny. So, John Anthony from Chairshots, where do you think MJF's going? Like, where do you think this story is going? Who's his next opponent?
I honestly really like what they're doing with MJF. I like the slow build, him coming back after his injury. He looks amazing. He's definitely one of those guys right now. He's going over as a face right now, but can pull it off as a heel. I feel like he's one of those guys who can go in either one of those directions. I like that they brought him back. He's not going into right into the title picture. He's kind of work his way up the ranks. I believe, obviously, the stuff that happened when he first last week, I believe it was him and Daniel Garcia. And then obviously Ospreay gave him a shot at the belt as well. But I think MJF is going to get a lot of mid-card matches, middle, maybe opening kind of pay-per-views. The guy's signed for 5 years now at AEW. He's got a lot of time to go. He's obviously going to eventually recapture the AEW championship. There's no reason to rush it. I like it just kind of letting it maturate and do it on its own. He's a great guy to even put people over if needed. But MJF is a generational talent. It's great to see him in AEW, and I think he's going to do great things with that promotion. So in the coming weeks, I think he's going to do a lot of things with mid-card guys, a lot of opening stuff, a lot of promos, really putting over AEW and just other dudes. And eventually, probably sometime in 2025, maybe make his way into the AEW title picture.
I gotcha. I couldn't agree more. It sucks that I'm saying that because he's like my favorite wrestler in AEW. I want him to be back in the title scene, but I also love Swerve Strickland, and I think he deserves a very long title run, especially after that Will Ospreay match at Forbidden Door, but we'll talk about that later. So, boys, MJF coming back. What are your thoughts so far, and where do you think he's going? Parker?
I think he's gonna be a powerhouse during his matches, and he's gonna go up against Penta, Nicole, if he still wants to wrestle after what he did whenever he returned. But I love MJF, and I think pretty soon Triple H is gonna ask if he could be in WWE. He'd have a good reign with LA Knight.
Oh, I think so too. As you heard my man here say, he signed a 5-year deal. But I do love. Hey, Amber, how are you? Perfect.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Hello.
great. So we got Sonny the Man Eagle Cain, former wrestler, with us, and we got John Anthony from Chairshot Sports. Amber Nicole is her name.
My given name.
Correct. So yeah, just to catch you up, we only really got through the first thing with the Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal matches. Do you have any thoughts or anything you want to get off your chest about Bryan Danielson or Mariah May versus Saraya?
I really enjoyed the Mariah May Saraya match. I think it's going to set up a really good storyline going into all in. And I'm interested to see how Mina Shirakawa kind of plays into it as well. So that'll be great. And then I would love to see Bryan Danielson go all the way to Wembley. That was a really freaking good match, a really good technical match. But yeah.
Yeah, we agree. Like we both said, Sonny had a beautiful segment on Mariah May, and I mean, everybody knows how great Bryan Danielson is. So I think we all agree with your thoughts there. And to just catch you up, we're actually just going to pass it on. MJF defeating Hechicero. What are your thoughts on MJF's return, and where do you think he's going in the next couple weeks? Who's going to be his next feud?
That's a really good question. I could see him going out and just cutting a promo. And what I love about what's going on with him since he's come back is it could be anyone. It could be anyone. It doesn't matter. There's no clear feud right this second. Could it be that he has like a side feud with Swerve, and like that leads to a title match at, you know, some point. I don't know. But I think that it's just fun that you just don't know. Like Edge of Zero, like that was random, but it was cool.
Yeah.
And then maybe he'll feud again with Roosh. That was a really good match. I don't think we've seen the end of that. So it would be nice. I really wish that they would start to pull in like some of his past friends, like Richard Holiday. Like
Yes.
when he actually, like when he was on I missed that picture. I stopped taking pictures when he did that, but when he was like standing on the railing, he did this thing, and I was just like, oh, that's rarefied air. That's hysterical. Where's Richard?
Yeah, who knows? There are a lot of people on the AEW roster is quote unquote missing right now. Like Ricky Starks is one of them. Like they seem to have that old WCW contract where they're getting paid whether they're on or off TV. And it seems like he's one of them, to be honest. But so Alex, MJF, what do you think of his return so far? Where do you think he's going?
I love MJF that he returned, and I think mostly he's going to be going up against Adam Cole and Swerve to get the Triple B back.
I like it. Both boys brought up Adam Cole. I personally think that's where he's going to go. I think Adam Cole, if he's clear, I think that will be a build and probably the match at All In coming up in August. So I think we've covered that. Sonny, we didn't get your input. If you have anything you want to say on MJF's return or what he's going to do in the next couple weeks.
I think he's going to continue to climb, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in AEW.
Yeah, I agree. And I think everybody pretty much, Amber and John Anthony definitely said it. Like he can do everything. He's probably going to have mid-level cards, a lot of promos. So expect that in the next couple weeks. Moving on to our third topic, we got the scapegoat, Jack Perry, winning the TNT title during the ladder match. I thought this was rather predictable myself going into the match, but it worked out well. They did it well. Mm-hmm. I love the Mark Briscoe spot, like even though he messed, but the ladder jumped up about that high, so that caused him to fall a little short. But that happens in wrestling. But all in all, I thought the match was awesome, even though it was a little predictable on who was going to win for me. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but we'll get to your in a second. So, Parker, what do you think of the ladder match and Jack Perry coming out as the TNT champion?
All I gotta say is that match was awesome. I don't know how, not Jay Briscoe, Mark Briscoe, he's not like actually hurting the wrestlers because he did that Jay Driller into the ladder and it looked like Jack Perry, his head was looked like his head was busted.
Well, I think it was Takeshita. He did that too. Yeah.
But that was awesome whenever he had a ladder and a table over Takeshita, and then he did like a kind of like a 450 swanton bomb. He jumped off
looking like Sabu jumping off the ladder or jumping off the chair, flipping over. That was an awesome spot.
Yeah, it was.
Alex, what do you think of Jack Perry winning the title in the ladder match?
The ladder match was good all in all. I liked it whenever Mark Briscoe set up a chair and did like a swanton bomb and then did the
Jay Driller.
Yeah, the Jay Driller into the ladder, R.I.P. Jay Briscoe. And I was actually kind of mad that Jack Perry won. I used to like him as Jungle Boy. I don't like him as a scapegoat.
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to like him, so he's playing his character very well, so I like it. John Anthony, what do you think of the TNT ladder match and Jack Perry?
Now I'm kind of in the same boat. It was one of those predictable things. I knew he was probably going to win that match. It was a great match the whole way through. Him bringing that gold, bringing the belt over to the EVPs and the Elite makes total sense. Obviously, with them naming the wild card, that's going to be shown this upcoming Wednesday to bring more gold into the group. But it's a good win for him. I like the scapegoat character. I think it's good for Jack. I like it. But again, it was predictable. But again, nice to see him win that belt.
Yeah, I agree. Predictable, but he's doing the scapegoat character well. When he started turning heel, I was like, oh, God, what are you doing, Jungle Boy? But after this few little months run, like, he's doing it well. Amber, your thoughts on Jack Perry winning the TNT title?
I think it was predictable too, but I think it builds into the character.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, like he's the only like pillar of AEW that hasn't really won like an AEW sanctioned singles title. You know, Sammy's been TNT champion. Darby's been TNT champion. MJF's been the world champion. He's the only one that hasn't. So it's kind of his turn, is how I feel about it too. But it really builds into the heat of him being the scapegoat, him being in the elite. It builds that storyline up, and I'm really happy to see Jack Perry doing so well, because when he was turning heel, during that whole like it was around All Out,
Yes.
Ish, and it was just Jungle Boy in like a leather freaking jacket, but now he feels like an actual like heel to me, and he's doing a great job, because if he's making your stomach turn, he's doing it.
Yeah, he can't stand him, so you know he's doing a great job.
That's like he in the learning tree. Like every single time he's like, "Thanks, guys."
Hi, guys.
I love the learning tree. I don't know about y'all, but I think it's phenomenal. Like I
love the trolling. It's a big troll that he's doing right now, and I love it that every time, "Hi, guys." I'm like, I can't.
Oh yeah, it's
No, I
bad.
agree. The job is amazing with the whole gimmick. I love it.
Yeah, he's doing great. And Sonny, last but not least, your thoughts on Jungle Boy Jack Perry now being the TNT champ?
I think it's great. I'm partial to ladder matches because I was in a tag title ladder match with Jeff Hardy back in the day, and we won. But they are hard to do, and it's scary when it's your turn to go up the ladder, whether you're ready for that or not. And you hope everything works out. And for Jack Perry, it did. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Jack Perry in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's good for AEW. I think, like everyone said so far, he's built his heel character well, and the next couple weeks will be exciting, that's for sure. Next topic, we got Zack Sabre Jr. balling out, and I got to give Orange Cassidy props too. He looked amazing, but Zack Sabre Jr. putting him in that pretzel-like submission at the end, like that was awesome. Like I don't even know how Orange Cassidy had to have been hurting a little bit after that. So yeah. I think he had to give a verbal tap there, and you haven't seen that in wrestling in a long time. So, Alex, what do you think of Zack Sabre Jr.?
It was honestly, the match was awesome. He gave Zack Sabre Jr. like 2 orange punches and knock him down, and then gets him into that like pretzel lock hold or whatever. That looked like it hurt really bad.
Yes, it did. Parker?
I honestly love Zack Sabre Jr. with his whole character with Matt Riddle, but he has some credit. I give him some credit because I don't know how he's able to be one of the best, if not the best, Orange Cassidy, like tapping him out. He's never tapped out in his career, but now he has because of that, like pretzel lock, like that pretzel lock figure 4.
Yeah, he had him bent all different shapes and sizes.
I bet you he's like cramped and he probably can't move.
For sure. Now, Zack Sabre Jr., in my opinion, is probably the best technical wrestler in the world right now, and I think he showed all of them skills at Forbidden Door. So. We went with John Anthony first last time. We'll go with Amber. Your thoughts on Zack Sabre Jr.?
I want to see more of this guy. Like he is just so good. Like his character, his in-ring work, like, oh my gosh. And I want to point out the change in Orange Cassidy's character that is starting to happen and progress. He's gone back to Pixie's song. He's gone to darker denim. He's gone to different promo, like screen. What is that called? Words are escaping me. when he's coming out, it's like all broken now and torn.
Oh yeah.
Like
The-
the
what-
video pack,
On
whatever.
the Titantron, his entrance video, yeah.
the
Yeah.
Titan on the
Yep.
intro video, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to see this progression, and like the fact that he got tapped out and he's not been tapped out before, that's going to be an interesting progression in his character. But like, I really can't say enough good things about Zack Sabre Jr. Like, I really wish we saw more of him and the rest of the Mighty Don't Kneel, especially like Robbie Eagles and was it Shane? I'm forgetting his last name. Bad with names, but like just the rest of the crew. That whole like faction is just awesome to watch.
Yeah, I agree. And like Orange Cassidy, his character over the last couple months has been great. He went heel. He's had a dark match where he was bleeding. Like, he can do it all. Orange Cassidy looked amazing in that match. I'm not one to grade, so I would just say like that's a very, very good match that they put on. We'll let John go last. So, Sonny, your thoughts on Zack Sabre Jr.?
I think he's a fantastic performer, and his character is really well. It just shows how far wrestling's come that we are sitting at a round table discussing characters. Back in my day, that would have been forbidden. But anyway, he has a lot of promise, and it'll be fun to watch him in the next few months to see him develop even more.
Yeah. He's got a long, I forget offhand how young he is, but I don't think he's that old. So he's got a couple more years to be doing this. So, John Anthony, your final thoughts on Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy?
No, I just honestly gotta like just piggyback on the sentiments of both of Amber and of Sonny. Like that, Zack Sabre needs to have more TV time. Need to have more of him on television. He's an amazing athlete. Watching him in the ring is awesome. And the fact that Amber brought up too, you see this transformation of Cassidy, even with him doing the promos. The guys walk away, and then he stands there and kind of does like a low talking, kind of not so enthused, kind of mellow, kind of dramatic kind of thing. You see more of him turning into this different kind of persona. It is exciting to see that next couple weeks, a couple months. So I'm excited for that. But the match was awesome. Those guys went, and that pretzel move was amazing. So yeah, it was a great match through and through.
Yeah. It was that Forbidden Door had a lot of bangers. I'll say that. Now, I know I'm going to butcher this next one's name, but Stephanie, is it Vaquer or Vaquer?
I think it's Vacker.
Vacker?
I believe so,
Vacker.
but I'm butchering it too.
Okay, so we'll go with Stephanie Vaquer. I thought she looked amazing in that Mercedes Moné match. Like, every little spot, like, she nailed perfectly. Like, she did so well that I honestly thought she was going to win there for a second, even though, like, this one was kind of predictable going in. I knew Mercedes Moné was going to win. But she did so well, it kind of changed my mind. Like, halfway through, I was rooting for her. Like, I wanted her to win. Like, she was doing amazing. I wasn't really didn't know too much of her before this match, but my God, is she on my radar moving forward. Boys, what do you think of Mercedes Moné and Stephanie Vaquer?
I mean, I really like the CEO's character, but she's kind of like, she's an ish of a heel, but I knew it was predictable because PW wants her to be a up-and-coming star, but that match was awesome. I honestly thought Vaquer was going to lose, even though she did, because she got hit with the Moneymaker at least twice, and she kicked out at 2. But, like, if somebody kicks out of your finisher, you have to do something else. But she did like the Moneymakers, and then she pinned her. She got the NJPW Strong Women's Championship.
Yep. I mean, you got to give her flowers. She's amazing, but Stephanie Vaquer looked even better. Alex?
That match was honestly great, and I don't know how her opponent didn't kick out of the first 2 Moneymakers. She had to do 3. Also, I love CEO. She brought back her old green and blue hair dye from WWE.
Yeah, she looks good. She changes her hair almost every time she comes on screen. She's a very good character. So just to switch it up, Sonny, what's your thoughts on Stephanie Vacker versus Mercedes Monet?
Well, Chip, like you, I hadn't heard that much about Stephanie Baker until the actual match. But after seeing the highlights and hearing about it on Twitter the past couple of days, I think she's someone that I'm going to be paying more attention to in the upcoming months. Her opponent was sharp, and she got the job done, and that's what it's about.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Mercedes Monet did well, but I can't rant and rave enough about Vacker. Like, she looked amazing.
It was impressive.
Yeah, it was a very good match. Amber, what are your thoughts on Vacker and Monet?
I love Stephanie Vacker. Like, I've seen a couple of her New Japan Strong matches, and she has this move where she like grabs her opponent with her legs and just like bangs their head into the mat. And I was like, I don't know what this is called, but I want to learn this just because it looks so cool. I don't know where I would use it. I'm not a wrestler. I'm a photographer, but like it just looks so cool. And it was interesting being there too. So everyone is chanting for Mercedes when she's coming out, singing her song, CEO chant. Somewhere in the middle of the match, switches, and everyone's behind Stephanie, and they're turning on Mercedes. You could see like the surprise in her face, but that's how good Stephanie was that people wanted to get behind her. Like they were like chanting against the Red Sox and the Celtics, all of this stuff, and booing her. So that just shows like what a strong performance Stephanie put on. And honestly, I really hope we see more of her in AEW. She really should be doing more on TV. It's like she's one of the women that I'm like, why aren't you on my TV every week? Like you're so good and you have that aura about you as well.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully, I mean, AEW women's division, in my opinion, is the strongest division in all of wrestling. Like they just have so much talent. And one just came back, but before we touch on that one, John Anthony, what are your final thoughts on Vacker versus Monet?
So I know the same thing we said about Stephanie that we're saying about Zack Sabre. I think a lot of flack goes to AEW are running the Forbidden Door year after year after year. Obviously, when it first happened, it was a big deal because it was the Forbidden Door. I think what it is now, this is I think the third year we're doing this. I think what it is now, it's what we're seeing. It's Tony Khan showcasing a lot of New Japan, Stardom, a lot of other people we're not going to see here in the States normally unless you follow wrestling that deep. I think we're seeing a lot of stars that could really be a big stars here in the States if Khan were to bring them into like their divisions and onto his programming. But it was an amazing match. I think the same thing like Amber was saying, like you saw halfway through, all of a sudden it's, not going to say it on here, but whatever the Celtics, whatever the Red Sox, and kind of you could see her looking up like what's going on. You don't see that in a lot of matches for someone that is so over in their promotion like Mercedes is in AEW. But Stephanie was awesome. It was a great match. It's good to see a double champ right now in AEW, and I'm excited to see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be I'm very excited for AEW moving forward. Nicely put. So moving on, we got DMD, Britt Baker, making her comeback. And it looked like she was eyeing the CEO. So I love Britt Baker. She's from Pittsburgh. I rep the hell out of her wherever we go. She's amazing. Like I'm so happy that she's back. The only one that I need to come back and in the women's division will be tops is Jamie Hayter, but not to jump too far down there. Britt Baker is back, boys. What do you think of DMD? You want to go first? Do you have anything you want to say?
But I think this is going to go like on a feud. I think this is going to be the match at All in Wembley Stadium. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be for the NJPW Women's Strong Championship and the TBS Championship, which is going to be a banger of a match.
You think it's going to be Britt Baker versus Mercedes Monet at All In?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
I like that prediction. I like that. I think hopefully they slow build and they wait a couple months to do. Well, actually, not a couple months. What is it? A couple more weeks. Go ahead, Alex. What are your thoughts on DMD Britt Baker finally coming back?
I love DMD. She's probably the best other than CEO in AEW. I love her finisher where she has the glove and holds down on their jaw, kind of like Bray Wyatt, R.I.P. Bray.
Yes.
And I think she might be coming for CEO.
Yes. But whenever she does that finish, she's just like, oh, you have a cavity? Let me get it out.
I love it. Sonny, what are your thoughts on DMD coming back?
I think it's great. I think it's going to add to the show, and I think the producers at AEW see that, and that's why they're bringing her back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's perfect timing. Everybody seems to be healthy. It's all in season. Like I think that's going to be the push. Hopefully, we see Britt Baker versus CE for the double title, like my boy said here. Amber, we'll let you go last this time. John Anthony, what are your thoughts on Britt Baker?
It's good to see her back. She's a pillar. I mean, she's literally on the new AEW women's title. Like a silhouette of her is on there. Like she is just, you can't say AEW without talking about Britt Baker. It's great to have her back. She's going to have some amazing feuds, especially with Mercedes, the CEO. So I'm excited to have her back. It was a good moment and excited to see what happens in the coming weeks up to All In.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. And Amber, final thoughts on Britt Baker coming back?
That pop was amazing when her music hit. Like I am so excited to see her back, and I'm really curious as to where this is going to go. Like to see Britt Baker with Mercedes Moné, like not something I would have thought I would have ever seen, but now it's something I know I need to see. So like she is AEW when it comes to the women's division to me. So I'm very happy to have her home.
Yes. Nicely put. AEW is her home. I think she was the one, they gave her a chance and she hit the ground running, and she's made her own character. I know anywhere she goes, her pop is huge. Everybody loves doing that DMD, and I can't wait to see I hope it's Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker, but whoever she fights is going to be a great feud. So, seventh topic. I'm probably going to butcher this name again, but who cares? Tetsuya Naito wins the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Jon Moxley. And I don't know about you, chair shots, but this was one of my predictions that I got wrong. I thought Jon Moxley was going to come out the winner. And man, after getting dropped on his head a couple times, and that was a brutal match. Like he had that nice spot where he fell off the top of the turnbuckle, took a good 10 feet fall. Like he had that brain buster where he literally looked like he fell on his head, and like he nailed a couple paradigm shifts himself. Like I really thought Jon Moxley was going to win this match, and then when Shado came out on top, I was surprised. And that's when wrestling is at its best. When it's not predictable and it catches you off guard, that is awesome. And I really thought Jon Moxley, there was no chance in hell that Jon Moxley wasn't winning this match. And he lost. So I thought that was great. He's mad because this is his favorite wrestler, so we're going to let him go last. Alex, what are your thoughts on Naito, the champion, beating Jon Moxley?
Honestly, that match was really good. I can't remember if that was the match where someone got like a frog splash or like a leg drop onto the announce table and it didn't break.
Yep, I think it was that match.
No, I don't think it was.
I think that was the TNT ladder match. There was
it the ladder match?
Yeah, because I turned to my friend and I was like, "Is that a Japanese table? Because like they never break." So,
yeah. Like even like
reference. I like that.
Yeah, that's a great reference.
There's actually two things that could break a Japanese table: Alex Coughlin's butt and Will Ospreay's face. Those are the only two things.
I love
no
it.
No lies spoken. No lies.
I love it. Like even with Will Ospreay's like kind of back of his head, that table didn't break. When Swerve came jumping off that turnbuckle and doing the double stomp, like nothing. Like sometimes these tables are
indestructible.
Indestructible. So, are you done with that match? Can we move on to Parker? Because I know he's mad and wants to get something off his chest. So go ahead, bud.
I'm just gonna say this another time. I am very upset because Jon Moxley is the best wrestler, if not, I think he's the top second best wrestler in AEW. But I'm really mad that he lost. But whenever he did that pile driver, I'm just like, is he gonna put him down or is he just gonna keep him up all night? And then he slammed him. It looked like Naito, he was knocked out for good. But I really liked that match. They had a couple big moments, but I'm still very mad that Moxley lost. And he's been chasing that title for 5 years.
Yeah, chasing that title for 5 years. I think he had a nice little run, and I loved the match. It showed off one of Sonny's favorite thing about wrestling, and that's going to be a good segue into him to lead this one off. I love the brutalness and the strong style that they used in this match, and Sonny loves the physicality of wrestling. So, Sonny, what'd you think of Naito and Jon Moxley?
I liked it. Pay-per-views are about the upsets, and it happens every now and again. And that's one of the things we talked about on Wrestling Spotlight with Gerald Bentley was I thought there were going to be some upsets coming out of the pay-per-view, and there were. It was very athletic, and some things are designed to make you mad. So that's part of the nature of the business.
Yeah, it's all emotions. They want you to react, whether it's happy, sad, mad, whatever. As long as you're reacting, that's good for them. So I like the role that we're going. We'll let John Anthony close this one. And Amber, what are your thoughts? I see you nodding, so I'll let you speak.
The physicality was pretty amazing, like just to showcase that strong style. I remember like talking to one of my friends and she's just like, I don't really get Naito. Like, I don't really get this. And I'm like, but he's strong style. He's true strong style. And like, there's a lot of like that's not necessarily in Japanese wrestling anymore because like the older wrestlers can't walk anymore or barely can walk because of it. But I really enjoyed watching it. And there were several moments where I'm like, I just witnessed a murder. He's dead. Oh, wait, closer look. Nope, he's alive. Oh, you caught that. Okay. Yes. I'm like, yeah, he's dead. Oh, nope, he's alive. And he's dead again. So like it makes it fun to see that kind of physicality. So I thought that he was gonna win. Like I didn't think John was gonna carry the title because at some point it needs to go back to the original company if he's gonna stay here. So that's kind of like my thinking. My wish was that he held on to it, but my thinking was, okay, he did say that he's going to drop out of the G climax, whatever, if he didn't win. So I was like, all right, that seals it. He's probably going to win. And he did, but I was hoping against hope Jon Moxley would be able to hold on to it for a little longer.
Yeah. Well, now that you said it like that, it kind of makes sense that Naito won, but he loves Moxley. He's really turned me, so I was rooting for him hardcore. John Anthony, I saw you nodding as well and taking a couple of drinks of water. Seems like you're prepared for this one. So your thoughts on Naito and Moxley?
Going last with this panel is easy. I can't help but agree with everybody. Like it's great. I had Moxley winning. I really wanted him to win. I agree. He's one of the best wrestlers out there, whatever company you like. He's one of the top 3 or 4 in the industry today. Seeing the strong style in that match was amazing. You don't see it a lot anymore, and to see it was awesome. It does make sense for Moxley to drop the title to kind of go back in AEW, maybe find a new rivalry somewhere with either the international title or the continental title. I don't think it's more so an AEW title run right now. That's kind of crowded at this point with All In coming up. But whatever Mox does, whether it's a singles match, a dark match, a televised match, you name it, that guy delivers 110% in that ring every day of the week, 3 times on Sunday. But the match was awesome. But Mox, even losing, still came out like, got to give him his flowers.
Oh, yeah, man. He took every spot that he had was spot on, man. He's one of the best in the world. I hated him when he was in WWE under Dean Ambrose, but now that this Jon Moxley is really taken off, I love what he's all about. And he cuts a good promo, man. He makes me like get all amped and ready to go. Like when he's bleeding, that promo is It's one of my favorites I've ever seen. He's bleeding all over the steps and just.
Did you see the blood? Did you see the Bloodsport promo that he cut after his match?
Oh no! I've been with Bushido. Is that what you're talking about?
If you don't get goosebumps listening to that promo that he cut on that mat, like it's amazing what he talked about wrestling and in general. Just it was amazing. He talks from the heart 99% of the time how he feels, and he hits it every time.
Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna have to YouTube that after this because I missed that myself. Amber, you kind of nodded. Did you see this little promo that he's talking about?
I saw a little bit of it. I had to run when I was watching it, so it's really passionate, and you forget how good Jon Moxley is at cutting promos. But you get reminded very quickly, even seeing just a sliver of this one.
Yeah. Like the way he talks in the ring is kind of silly, but man, he nails them promos. Like when he's walking around with his hands in his pocket. But his promos spot on every single time. So moving on to the final match, main event. I love both people. This one was very hard, but I kind of figured Swerve was going to win, but I love Will Ospreay. So all I have to say is, boys, whose house?
Swerve's house. It's Osprey's house.
We were torn between this one. So, Alex, I'll let you go first. What do you think of the final match? Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland.
Honestly, I had to say I loved it. I love Swerve. I love it whenever he hits the gritty in the ring. And the fact that before the end of that match, Don Callis came out with a screwdriver
And he just
saying the Will Ospreay,
use
do it.
this.
And then
He was gonna use it on Prince Nana, but he just
Prince
I ain't
Nana,
doing it.
where Prince Nana and Don Callis were about to get into a fight, and then Prince Nana really scared whenever Will Ospreay had the screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
He
near
just
his head.
please,
That was a
don't do
crazy
it.
spot. Is there anything in the match that really stuck out? Like the pile driver on the guardrail, that was insane.
Yeah,
like all the flips
my
Will
God.
Ospreay
Yeah,
was
I don't
doing.
know how Will Ospreay didn't get knocked out after that.
Yeah, I don't. Everything the man does is perfect. Like he
Will-
fell backwards, bounced off the back of his head off the turnbuckle, and then landed on his feet. How many wrestlers can do that? Like not many. Like it was so impressive. Like and then that little parkour backflip thing that he does, where he kicks the person in the chest and then does a flip and then lands like a perfect gymnast. It's like, dude, you're amazing. Like it was like this. I hate the rating system, so I'm not going to say 5-star. Match of the year candidate for sure. Probably not going to win, but I think it's up there. Should be in the running.
Yes.
Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland at
Yes.
Forbidden Door. Parker, your thoughts?
What I gotta say, just holy shite, Will Ospreay, how are you not dead? Because he got pile drived on that guardrail, and he was just like, "Oh my god, I can't take any more." He's going through the match, and whenever Swerve Strickland, he did that stomp from the top of the turnbuckle. I'm just like, okay, how did that table not break? It's like the Japanese table.
That should be all Japanese tables.
They all should be. It very well could have been. That's so good. Like, I'm gonna have to write that down and give you props. Like that was amazing. Like this match had so many hot spots. Like the Hurricane Rana off the guardrail, the pile driver on the guardrail, like the double stomp jumping from the turnbuckle to the Japanese commentator table.
Yeah.
Like all the moves, like that final. Like I love the story that was told in there. Like Swerve's the man, and he proved it. Like he tried to do the hidden blade right at the end, didn't have enough power, pat him on the head. Good try, my man. But this is and I thought the finish was amazing with the house call, and then is it big pressure? Is that the name of that move that he flips the guy up and down? Is that what that's called? I'm asking flat out to everybody. Is that the name of that move?
Yeah.
I forgot what commentator said it. They called the move what it was. I don't recall what it was, but it was called something else. It wasn't the big pressure.
I think it's called
Someone
big
called it something.
I know that's the name of his song that he comes out to. But
Right. I can't remember what it was. It's not that, but I think it was somebody said what it was. So
yeah, we've said it on previous podcasts. The man needs to pick a finisher, and I don't think that should be it because you can't really do that to everyone. Like you can do it to Will Ospreay because he's amazing, but I want to see him do that to like Big Bill or somebody like
Samoa
Samoa Joe. That's the perfect one. A shorter, stockier fellow. Like I want to see him do that move to Samoa Joe. So I think he needs to pick a move. He's done like 2 or 3. He's got the house call, the double stomp. He needs to pick one and roll with it. But that's the only bad thing I'm going to say on my man Swerve. Amber, judging by your facial expressions, I'm going to let you speak first. Go ahead. Swerve Ospreay.
I love that match. Like Swerve and Ospreay have like an amazing like chemistry in the ring that goes back for a long time. They dance. There's this like, I think it was Defy.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was one of their matches there where they like actually danced to Uptown Funk because Will Ospreay was with Ryan Smile in the Uptown Funkers. So they danced to that and they did some gymnastics with that. And then it ended up with Will drop kicking him. So this like whole thing goes back. There's a little bit of a sub story that if you follow their careers, you'll know the sub story. But just the storytelling in the match itself, like the back and forth, this is my house. I'm going to use your move against you right at the final moments. And I'm going to pin you. Like it's people complain that there's no storytelling in the ring with AEW. And I greatly disagree because you need to watch this match to be able to see that there's great storytelling all the time. It's not every single match, maybe, because some matches are not meant to be like a story. It's just meant to be a good wrestling match. But this one, start to finish, there's even harkenings like the last time I saw him do the pile driver on the railing, like on the barrier, was with Full Gear. I have a picture of that. I took a picture of that with Hangman
Adam Page, correct.
Yep. So this should be very interesting, like how that, just to bring up Hangman, like how this is going to progress. Like, is he going to come back crazed again? Because I was kind of liking that crazed gremlin mustache thing that was going on. But anyways, back to the match. Like, just amazing. Like, I can't even say enough good things about it. It kind of like, it's one of those where I'm actually at a loss for words.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing match, amazing story, and yeah, you brought up what were you just asking?
What even happened to Adam Page?
Yeah, what happened to Adam Page? I'm kind of blanking on that. And I know, John Anthony, you got some inside people. What's your word on Adam Page?
Family stuff.
It's not really an inside thing. Nothing really happened. It's just a matter of storyline, how we're going to make everything work out. Again, like I've said, I believe he's the one who's going to come out tomorrow night as the wild card. Yeah, I don't know if you want me to. Do you want me to segue into the main event, or is that you want me to talk about Adam Page, or?
Yeah, whatever you want to do, my man. Like, that was pretty much it. Like,
okay,
let's talk more about.
No, I agree with Amber too. Like, it was just like the story. A lot of people say there's no storylines in AEW. If you're a WWE guy, whatever, but AEW really is putting on a lot of great stories, long-term storytelling stuff in these matches. The match was amazing, and not for nothing too. I think the house call. I watch a lot of wrestling, a lot of promotions. The house call is probably one of the top 3 finishers out of nowhere that can be hit. It's one of a very detrimental to your health kind of move, and finishes matches very quickly. So hopefully that's one of the finishers, like you were saying, he picks one. The house call should definitely be one of the ones he goes with. But I think the match was great. Ospreay's an amazing athlete. So is Swerve, and I love how Swerve is getting his chance to showcase how great he is. A lot of people, maybe paper champion, transitional champion, things like that. He's just proving match after match, night after night. Every time whoever steps up, he puts them down and keeps going on as an amazing AEW champion.
Yeah, he's not a paper champion, that's for sure. Sonny, final thoughts on Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland?
Well, I think it's a wonderful moment when you get 2 athletes together, 2 workers who have chemistry between them and can run the ball. I think it was a great match, and I think AEW is going to continue to put out more matches like that match in their upcoming product. I don't think it's going to be, but by no means the last of the great chemistry matches. A great chemistry match that comes to my mind is Ricky Steamboat and Steve Austin back in the day before he became 316 or whatnot. But they had chemistry. And another thing that Mr. Bentley pointed out on his show was the workers would like to do that more often in the locker room, so time permitted, and the producers in agreement. Hopefully, we'll see more great matches like Swerve. I think Swerve is the best athlete going today, and he's going to be around for a while longer.
Yeah, he deserves it, man. He's been putting in the work. He's gained noticeable muscle. He's a lot bigger, and he's awesome in the ring. I just like John Anthony. I think House Call would be the perfect finisher for him with the Who's House and House Call. Like, I think that's just perfect for Swerve Strickland. Just the other moves, I don't know, but House Call looks awesome and looks brutal. And the last topic, moving on to the weekly shows, AEW Dynamite. I got one topic that I want to talk about. If you guys have anything else that you saw during the show, Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia. Obviously going to be the main event of the show for the international. Is it the international championship? And yeah, I love Daniel Garcia. He got help with Chris Jericho to get his character built. I love the little dance that he does now. Like, I think this is officially going to show him. It seems like wrestling is using Will Ospreay and MJF now to boost up their mid-card talent, to show them that they're more than mid-card. And I think this is going to be a perfect example of that. Parker?
Honestly, I think if that match is official, I'm going with Will Ospreay. I think it's going to be close with Daniel Garcia, but I definitely know Adam Page just might come out and beat the crap out of Swerve for hitting him in the back of the head with a cinder block, which happened at Full Gear. That wasn't a real cinder block, because cinder blocks don't crumble. That was a prop cinder block, like what movie stars use. But if a real cinder block hit him in the back of the head, he'd just be dead.
No, I think he's going to be coming back, and he's going to have some anger problems. So, Alex, what do you think of Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia?
Danny Garcia all the way.
All the way. He's picking Danny Garcia to upset Will Ospreay. Okay. Sonny, let's let you lead off. What are your thoughts of AEW Dynamite coming up this week, coming off Forbidden Door? And we'll just, with our topic, Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia.
I like Will Ospreay. Everybody boos me, but he's been there a minute, and I think he's eventually going to get his day.
I agree. I think this match is a little predictable, but I hope it shows Daniel Garcia's ability, and I think that's why they're doing this. They're putting him in with Will Ospreay. He's the man. He can make anybody look great. So I think Daniel Garcia, this might be his best match of his career. Amber, we'll go with you since John likes to close this group so much. So go ahead.
I'm really looking forward to it because like I've been waiting for Daniel Garcia to really break out. He's been, kind of slept on, to be honest with you. He's gonna be a really good wrestler. Or he is a really good wrestler. I say that because of the whole like last year where he was with was it Bryan Danielson, and they were saying, you're a wrestler. And there was that chant. And he's like, no, I'm a sports entertainer. So that's why I'm like, he is a good wrestler. Yeah. So it's going to be a really good showcase match. I don't think it's his time to win it yet, but we'll see. We'll see. And this will probably also not only showcase him, but also further the storyline between Don Callis and, Will Ospreay. Kind of see the trouble kind of brewing with them. And then like with Kyle coming out and comforting him, I could see them breaking away and like just going full United Empire away from Don Callis family. So we'll see.
I love it. And John, go ahead and close us out on Will Ospreay versus Daniel Garcia.
Now I'm the closer? Okay, okay, let's go, I guess. All right. I think it's gonna be a great match. Ospreay, I think obviously is gonna win this. Garcia has come from so much from being I've been to a couple events, Dynamite, Collision. They're actually coming to Worcester in September. And I'm sorry, they're coming to Springfield in September. I already got tickets. I think he's been used as some comedic relief, kind of just dancing in the ring, not really looked as being serious. The promo he cut in that ring with MJF, I think, had a lot of meaning behind it and really meant a lot coming from the heart from both those guys. It wasn't just something that was written to be said. It was said for a reason. And I think Garcia really has a very bright future moving forward. Is it AEW championship title? Maybe not, but a mid-card, definitely. I think he's a great athlete, can do some great things in that ring. As far as the match in general, I think MJF somehow gets involved. You saw the segment. Ospreay comes out, kind of gets in the middle of their match for All In. I think MJF kind of inserts himself either way. But I think Garcia getting this kind of match, win, lose, or draw, moving forward, really puts him in a place he needs to be in AEW as being someone who can really be someone on camera and be a great talent moving forward, especially carrying a title down the road.
Yeah, I agree. I love Daniel Garcia. I think this is a huge spot for him. And I said earlier when I opened it, I think this is his biggest match of his career. And I hope he makes the best of it. Like this is the main dance that he's been looking for. He's going in against the man, Will Ospreay. So I'm hoping him all the luck and for his career, but I'm picking Will Ospreay all day. So that pretty much ends this little Wrestle Dads roundtable of Forbidden Door. So just thank you all for coming on, and I'll give you some brief moments to plug anything you got going. So ladies first, Amber, sorry I ignored that since you got in here. So we'll let Amber go first. Plug away.
Well, I just want to say if people are in the Boston, Worcester area, there is Americarana that is happening this Thursday. There's going to be some really good matches. Dijak was just announced for it because Leo Rush, who I also thought died 3 times in that ladder match, retired twice probably in that ladder match as well. He is since unretired probably. But he was hurt, so Dijak is going to be there. So that'll be really good. That is at the White Eagle in Worcester, and tickets are available on independentwrestlingtv.com. There's also a Beyond, it's 21 plus, there's a Beyond Wrestling event on Saturday. So yeah, if you're in the area, there are things going on. I will be there doing photography. So yeah.
That's awesome. Perfect. Sonny, what do you got going on? Well, I know you're retired, but I know we did a recent podcast. You'll be on our Wrestle Dads July 7th, and that episode will be released in a few weeks. So.
I'm on Wrestle Dads July 7th, doing another interview run. I'm also can be seen on Gerald Bentley's Wrestling Spotlight as a recurring guest. And you can find me on YouTube, and you can find me at Real Sonny Cain.
Right on. And going to our closer, John Anthony.
It's a thing now. I'm going to put it in a little title at the bottom. So this is going to be Thursday. Amber, I will see you. I live in Worcester, so I'll be at the White Eagle. So I will see you there. I'm going. You can find us, Chairshot Sports. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter at Chairshot Sports. You can also find us every Saturday at 6 p.m. on Live 365 Radio, on the Block 105, and also on SoCal Radio. So, guys, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for coming on. And just to segue off Dijak, I know he's getting around. He'll be in the Pittsburgh area for us at Rise July 13th. We'll be there. So, Dijak looks like he's getting a lot of everybody on this panel pretty much is going to be meeting him and meet and greets and stuff. So, that's awesome. So, WrestleDads.com. You can find our LinkTree. You'll find our Spotify.WrestleDads.com for this podcast. We're going to put it out on YouTube at tv.WrestleDads.com. And don't worry, we'll post all that on Twitter at WrestleDadsPod. And the boys usually segue or plug their stuff. So, Alex, what's your TikTok?
You can find me at the Boys A90 on TikTok with a capital T at the beginning. Usually I plug my YouTube, but I'm not because I'm working on a new name for it.
All right. And Parker.
You can find me at Parker from WrestleDads, no spaces, and please house call that subscribe button.
I love it. And last but not least, if you like this Wrestling is Real, People Are Fake shirt that's been hanging on, you can go to shop.wrestledads.com. And thanks again for everybody coming on. This was awesome, and hopefully we do it again in the future. We'll keep in touch.
Peace.
Yeet. Yeet. And all right, well, I think that's all we have for you on this episode of Wrestle Dads. You can follow us on Twitter at WrestleDads Pod. For audio purposes, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, and iHeartRadio. For video purposes, you can find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search Wrestle Dads. You'll find us. And if you like what you're hearing, please rate 5 stars and hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Peace.
Scissor me!